Hello everyone, this is Jack Austin interviewing Miss Petrunin on her perspective of being a new teacher at New Tech High at Coppell and just adjusting to teaching in a project-based learning environment compared to being in a traditional classroom setting. Tell me about your last position and what you did.
So my previous position, I taught at a traditional high school. I taught in Richardson, Texas at Berkner High School. And I taught one course, which is Principles of Business Marketing and Finance, 45 minutes, class periods, that same exact class 5 times a day. So it was really repetitive. It wasn't very expansive, but it was my first year of teaching in a high school setting. So I kind of craved having that consistency because I was new at it. So yeah, this year I was excited to expand beyond that one.
New Tech was kind of a curveball.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the most important thing you learned at your previous job, and what did you enjoy most or least about it?
I think the most important thing I learned was how to work with students and how to inspire them no matter where the background was. I think I had a lot of students from diverse areas, and so I learned that it doesn't matter where you come from. When you come in the room and you're a learner, you can all get inspired together. It doesn't. I don't have to differentiate that for each learner. It can be a group effort.
So what did you enjoy most and what did you enjoy least?
So my previous job, I enjoyed most seeing some of my students walk away and actually get real jobs in the real world. I think the least about my last job was just the student behaviors that I had to manage that were a lot different than. I don't have that issue here. Classroom management was just a lot different, and I had a lot of students. I had over 215 students total, so I did not like the fact that I couldn't really take the time to get to know each student.
Yeah. So you think you don't have to deal with behavioral issues and inspiring kids as much as you did at your old job?
I have to inspire the learners here, for sure, but I don't have to deal with physical threats to my environment and threats to other students and learners within my classroom. So that is a good thing. When you take that out of the equation, you can focus on the content and the learners and improving their lives, and you don't have to worry about your safety. I think that's...
Yeah. So how have your previous positions prepared you for coming into New Tech, being a teacher?
Yeah, I think that it adds more validity to what I'm saying, that I come from. I know what is expected at the college level. I've taught at the college level previously. I know it's the state expects because I help write the TEKS and the standards that we teach in this classroom. So I think it has put me in the position I'm in today because all I had left to do was this teaching piece. And I kind of had danced around the teaching piece, and I never had really gotten into the high school classroom to teach, and so this really lets me have hands-on experience and get to know the learners and what's really needed in a high school classroom rather than just reading about it.
Yeah. I got the opportunity to speak to my vice principal, Ms. Shake, about her perspective on the influx of new teachers this year, specifically Ms. Petrunin. And she quoted, "We have a wonderful group of new facilitators this year, and I am excited to work with all of them. Our new business and entrepreneurship facilitator, Ms. Petrunin, is a new staff member this year. However, she's already an integral part of our school community. Beyond facilitating her classes, she sponsors DECA, and she also runs our senior capstone project. Her hard work and dedication and love for her learners is truly appreciated." So what were your 3 most important responsibilities when you worked with TJ and Meritrade?
3 most important responsibilities: creating events that were engaging for potential clients, tracking all of our events return on investment. How much are we going to put into them? How much is it really going to cut? How much business are we really going to get for these events? Are we just throwing a party to throw a party? And then creating opportunities for our sales force that would encourage them to see higher sales or push them. So we would create certain campaigns where they would go out and they would win a trip to the Bahamas if they met certain sales goals. But how do we get the message out? How do we incentivize that? What benchmarks do we set? That kind of thing. So those were some of my responsibilities.
So how did you find out about New Tech?
I found out about it through my assistant principal at my last school. They'd actually toured New Tech last year, and they said that it was an awesome opportunity, that there is a great school, and then when I saw a position posting I was looking for a position closer to my house. When I saw this posting, I thought it'd be a great fit for me and for what I like to do and how I learn. I learn through project-based learning,
So you wanted to be closer to home and at New Tech, or just one or the other? Is it both of them?
Both, yeah, really.
So what interests you most about being a teacher at New Tech?
The fact that all of this relates to the real world, because my topic or my subject that I teach is business. So I love for my class to be related to the real world. So it lends itself towards project-based learning and the New Tech mantra of being more hands-on than just testing over things that don't exactly
have
physical application. Yeah.
I got the chance to speak to a new teacher this year at New Tech named Miss Fu, who teaches game programming design, and she said to me, "Education is about getting ready for your future career. The 5 learning outcomes that are taught here are necessary skills that are pertinent for the real workplace." And she was very adamant about the applicable skills that are taught at New Tech and how it's much different from the traditional classroom setting, which doesn't emphasize these skills as much as New Tech does. When I asked Ms. Petrunin about what was different about her new job now at New Tech versus her old jobs, she told me that she's more comfortable working at New Tech because she's closer to her home in Flower Mound, and she has a better work-life balance than what she used to have in the finance industry, and that she is able to pursue her passion of education better at New Tech because she learned through project-based learning and is very hands-on with the students. So what qualities do you think are necessary to make a success of this job, specifically like being a New Tech teacher?
I think that you have to be flexible first and foremost, because our schedules tend to change and lesson plans tend to change on the fly sometimes. So I've learned that while I like to have a set calendar and know exactly what to expect, sometimes I have to be flexible with this environment. I've also learned to put more responsibility back on the students as far as planning goes, not just making my own plans.
At New Tech?
At New Tech, involving students in the planning process helps create a more authentic project for them.
Okay, so tell me a project that you got really excited about.
Right now, my entrepreneurship class is creating an entrepreneurial wax museum, and I pitched the idea to them and kind of said what I would like it to look like, and we kind of talked through some no's and need to knows, and the students took over this project and kind of like just really made it their own. Like they made a project plan, a timeline, what they're expected to do each day in class, what they want the end product to look like, and they even expanded on that, like how would we vote for the projects, how would you have an entrepreneur how would you dress up like the entrepreneur? How can we involve a voting system in it? They created this whole project off of like one idea. So it was really cool to see, like I just had this random idea and it comes to this big fruition, and it'll be really awesome. So next month they're gonna be presenting it, and I think it'll be really cool.
Do you think students at your old school would have been as enthusiastic and like taking the project and made it their own?
New Tech students definitely take initiative more, I've noticed. They like to take a project and run with it. They own their education more so. At my previous school was not the case. So I think that New Tech students definitely have that ability more so than my previous students, where we really were confined by time and space more, and they didn't have the freedom. Yeah.
And they weren't enthusiastic. Yeah. So what motivates you to do your best work?
Seeing the students that want to learn motivates me to do my best work, and the students that come into my classroom and are really interested about learning more about the business process, they motivate me to do better. It also motivates me to see other schools achieving great things that we can achieve alongside of them.
Yeah. How do you motivate kids?
I love to motivate through my enthusiasm in general and through creating real projects that can actually be used in the workplace. I don't want to create projects that you're just going to come up and stand up and present to me.
Just to get them done.
Just to get it done. No, I don't want the content, I want the content to come alive for the student.
So what do you do when you have trouble with a student?
So I try to have like a one-on-one meeting and kind of understand where they're coming, look at their perspective, and then pull in help if I need it or if the student needs it from another administrator or from another educator that maybe had success with them.
How do you define doing a good job?
I define doing a good job as far as my students productivity levels and if my students are actually learning and not bored and enjoying my class and
Making growth.
Their growth is how I define my success.
Okay. So what makes you stand out among your peers?
I think my background definitely has been different than a lot of the other, as far as teachers here and peers as far as people that I went to school with. A lot of my friends were all business majors and ended up in corporate world. And so where I went to education, that's definitely made it a little different than...
Why'd you go into education? Was it more like your passion?
The education was definitely more my passion. I had the opportunity at a young age to work on academic research journals and advance my education through my master's degree. And I always knew that I wanted to get my master's degree. I didn't know that I wanted to be in the doctoral program that I'm in now. So I think that kind of makes me different than my peers, and it also leads me down that path of more education.
Okay. So what does success mean to you? Not even just in the classroom. What does success mean to you?
I think success means constantly learning new things and seeing growth. If I don't see growth, I feel like I'm unsuccessful. But if I see okay, well this year our DECA chapter had 80 members. Next year we see growth. We see that 95. We've added more people. Seeing the numbers helps me to quantify that success. But also seeing those relationships with the students evolve, seeing those bulbs go off in their heads, when they finally figure out a concept. Oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. That helps me.
So how do you plan your day at New Tech? Since last time it was just one class, five days in a row, or 5 times in a row.
So I plan my days. I like to, from what I experienced, it's kind of evolving for me. So in the beginning, I would plan it out in my planner, and I would go through our courses. Each have TEAC guidelines. I would kind of divide that up how I want to cover that. But I've learned from my first project that I launched here that if I give more ownership to the learners in my room, they're going to be more excited about the project and about the control they have over that timeline. I kind of make a plan with them the first day of their project, the second day of their project. We launch the project, and then I'm like, okay, here's what deliverables we're going to need. Let's talk about how we're going to get to that point.
Yeah, so how this is the output, what's the input?
Yeah, so I that's how I've been planning. I plan alongside the learners, and I think that makes the class even more authentic for them.
Yeah. Ms. Petrunin's 5 years goals are to finish her dissertation for her doctorate degree in education and to expand upon her capstone project here at New Tech.